It's 6 p.m. on a Wednesday here in Korea. Welcome to our newscast. I'm Daniel Che. Let us begin with the headlines. The chair of South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff holds an emergency meeting with his operation commanders to prepare countermeasures against North Korean provocations, as it's expected that latest missile launches will not be the last of its hostile acts. On day 2 of a parliamentary Q&A session, lawmakers asked if the decision to deploy THAAD to South Korea could be a prelude to joining America's global missile defense shield. Donald Trump officially becomes the presidential nominee of the Grand Old Party at the Republican National Convention in Cleveland. A parade of speakers heap praise on him while lobbing jabs at his Democratic Party rival. South Korea is on high alert as it is preparing for any possible attacks from North Korea as the military held an emergency meeting a few hours ago, with the North saying that Tuesday's missile launches were just a show of its military capability and intention. It seems like provocations from the regime won't stop anytime soon. Connie Kim starts us off.
South Korea is maintaining its high alert level as North Korea has forged ahead with another missile provocation. The chairman of the South Korean Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Lee Sun-jin, held an emergency meeting with his operations commander on Wednesday to gauge the possibility of abrupt small-scale attacks by North Korea, following the regime's latest provocation on Tuesday. In an apparent protest against the U.S.-made THAAD unit deployment decision, North Korea launched 3 missiles into the EC early Tuesday morning, with 2 flying up to 600 kilometers far enough to reach all of South Korea. The military said it discussed possible response measures against the North, as there is a high possibility Pyongyang could launch another provocation, possibly a 5th nuclear test or a submarine-launched ballistic missile test, around the joint drills between Seoul and Washington scheduled to take place next month. Pyongyang on Wednesday showed it was serious about engaging in possible attacks, confirming the ballistic missiles it lobbed into the EC were part of a drill aimed at preemptively taking out South Korean ports and airfields. North Korea said it purposely limited the firing range to simulate a nuclear attack, with Kim Jong-un at hand to provide field guidance to the drill. The pictures revealed by Pyongyang also show a map of the Korean peninsula with target locations in the southern part of Seoul. The North has been against a THAAD deployment to South Korea, warning that it would carry out physical action against the South as soon as the location of the THAAD battery deployment was confirmed. And adding to North Korea's provocations aimed at expressing its discontent regarding the THAAD decision, the North has resumed its encrypted message broadcasts to its spies for the first time since the Inter-Korean Summit in 2000. With that, inter-Korean tensions have further escalated with seemingly no way out for the time being. Connie Kim, Arirang News.
Korea's defense minister was in the hot seat again during the National Assembly's second and final Q&A session on the decision to station the U.S.-led missile defense system on the peninsula. Once again, he offered an explanation on the larger implications of the planned deployment. Kim Young-gil fills us in.
Defense Minister Han Min-gu refuted concerns that the decision to deploy THAAD to the Korean peninsula means that South Korea will become part of Washington's global missile defense shield, a continuation of the policy set by former President Kim Dae-jung.
Let me be clear, it is not joining the US MD program. THAAD will only be used for South Korea's defense against North Korea. We will not share any information with the US-led global missile defense system.
Han noted that Seoul is developing its own missile defense program, Kill Chain and the Korea Air and Missile Defense System, so there is no need for Seoul to join the US system. Prime Minister Hwang Kyo-ahn was also present for the session. When the main opposition Minju Party of Korea asked whether the U.S. had forced the THAAD decision, he said it was South Korea's sovereign military decision.
The U.S. is a very important ally to us. It was our own decision to deploy the THAAD for our self-defense and for our survival.
The party also expressed concerns about the possibility for diplomatic and economic retaliation from China and Russia, both of which are deeply opposed to the deployment. Meanwhile, the People's Party stuck to its stance that the deployment needs parliamentary approval, an idea the Prime Minister rejected again today.
The THAAD deployment is a serious issue that encompasses people's safety. Public consensus is required. The government should submit a motion for parliamentary approval.
The opposition parties also criticized the government for disclosing the intended site of Seongju, Gyeongsangbuk-do province, without consulting the people who live there, and asked if there were any plans to compensate Seongju residents. The defense minister replied that while there is no compensation plan, the government will meet with Seongju residents and give them whatever support they need. Kim Young-git, Arirang News.
Moving on, the ties between South Korea and Mongolia seem to have become stronger than ever, especially following President Park Geun-hye's recent visit to Ulaanbaatar. And to explore how deep the bilateral relations goes, our Song Ji-sun sat down with Pusalmangjin Olchirbat, the first leader of that country. The ex-president shared his vision for the two sides and even offered a piece of advice to Pyongyang.
Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Pusalmangjin Olchirbat. He is the first president after Mongolia shifted to capitalism and democracy in the 1990s. He is also the one who established diplomatic ties with South Korea. How would you rate the ties between South Korea and Mongolia after 26 years of diplomatic relations?
их үрдүнтэй, их өргөн хүрээтэй, хоёр орны ард түмний одоо эрх ашиг сэтгэл санаанд их нийцэж ингэж хөгжиж байгаа. Бид нар бол одоо бидэнд цаашдынхаа хөгжлийг одоо бодох зүйл бол ерөөсөө аж үйлдвэржүүлэх Монголын аж үйлдвэржилтийн бодлогод Солонгосын техник, технологи одоо гаргах тэгээд одоо Монгол Солонгос хоёр харилцан ашигтай тим одоо хамтын ажиллагааны үе шат руу шилжих тийм шаардлага байна, тийм цаг хугацаа ач одоо ер нь болсон байна. Нөхцөл байдал бол ер нь сайн хангагдсан. Манай Монголын
When looking back, Mongolia established great economic development after transition into democracy and capitalism over the past 3 decades. What message do you think this can convey to Pyongyang, and what ideas or suggestions do you have for the Pyongyang government?
эдийн засгийн өсөлт, эдийн засгийн хүчин чадлаар үндэснийхээ аюулгүй байдал, ард иргэдийн аюулгүй байдлыг хамгаалах ийм шинэ нөхцөл байдал бий болчиход байгаа байхгүй юу? Тэгэхээр ер нь бол одоо Солонгос, хойд Солонгосын цөмийн зэвсгийн ийг одоо тэгээд эдийн засгийн хамтын ажиллагаа, эдийн засгийн тусламж гэдэг юм уу, ийм юма төлхөө өгвөл аянда тэр цөмийн тэгээд одоо манаас одоо Монголоос авмаар тийм одоо бас этайхан боломжийн юм байвал одоо аваад тэгээд хөгжие гэж би хойд Солонгосынхондоо уриалмаар байна да.
Thank you so much for sharing your insights on North Korea and setting the vision for future relations of Mongolia and South Korea. And we also appreciate your initiative for the unification on the Korean Peninsula here in Mongolia. Mr. Pusalmangjin Olchirbat, former president of Mongolia.
Over in the United States, Donald Trump has been formally nominated the Republican Party's candidate for America's presidential election in November. Here's the latest from our Park Ji-won at the GOP convention in Cleveland, Ohio.
After a months-long struggle and several attempts to put down his candidacy, Donald Trump is now the Republican Party's official nominee. He earned the votes of more than 1,237 delegates, putting him over the threshold for the nomination.
Donald J. Trump, having received a majority of these votes entitled to be cast at the convention, has been selected as the Republican Party nominee for President of the United States.
I'm proud to announce that Governor Michael Pence has the overwhelming support of this convention to be the next Vice President of the United States.
Trump unofficially accepted by video message from New York.
We're going to bring back our jobs. We're going to rebuild our depleted military and take care of our great veterans.
The thousands of delegates from all 50 U.S. states assembled at the convention venue hailed their new nominee with standing ovations and chants of Trump, Trump, Trump. Of course, there are delegates whose first choice was not Trump, but in general, they seem to share the belief that Trump can bring the country new energy and growth. Donald Trump will formally accept the nomination in a speech on Thursday when he's expected to talk about his plans to strengthen security and boost the economy. Outside the convention hall, peaceful demonstrations by both Trump supporters and protesters took to the streets of downtown Cleveland to make their voices heard.
I come out to support the candidate, Donald Trump. I believe he means what he says when he cares about America, as I do. I care about this country a great deal. I like our rights. I love our freedoms.
I think both of them lack integrity, and they've proved that over the decades. And I think both of them will say and do almost anything to be president.
The convention will run through Thursday evening, followed by the 4-day Democratic National Convention in Philadelphia next week, when its candidate for the White House, Hillary Clinton, takes the stage. Park Ji-won, Arirang News, Cleveland.
Meanwhile, tens of thousands of people have been detained in Turkey in a controversial purging campaign that follows last weekend's failed coup. Amid the ongoing strife, the Turkish president has told his supporters that the government will be making a big announcement on Wednesday. Oh Jung-hee takes a look at the changes there that could soon go through.
Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has vowed to root out the allies of U.S.-based cleric Fethullah Gulen, the man he blames for last Friday's failed military coup against his government. Turkish authorities have suspended or detained over 50,000 people in an ongoing post-coup purge, starting with the military, the police, and the judiciary over the weekend, and widening to academia, the intelligence agency, and religious authorities.
We have 9,322 persons under the legal procedure. Some of them are under prison right now, some captured, some under the legal control.
The deputy prime minister denied that Turkish authorities knew about Friday's coup attempt a few hours before. The General Staff of the Turkish Armed Forces had said through the website on Tuesday that the National Security Organization had informed them about coup attempt.
Government did not have any information of the military coup d'etat attempt. Unfortunately, we have learned the possible attempt of military coup d'etat after some forces became a kind of active in the field.
President Erdogan said Tuesday he will convene a National Security Council meeting on Wednesday, followed by a cabinet meeting when a, quote, important decision will be announced.
Specifics have not been revealed, but the main agenda will be punishing the coup plotters. The Turkish president could push forward with reforming the military and the judiciary, which participated in the coup planning. And all eyes are on whether he will reinstate capital punishment, something the European countries are strongly against, to strengthen his power.
The Turkish military and residents have slammed the coup plotters as having defamed the state and its history with a, quote, undemocratic movement. The government has said those behind the coup attempt will pay a hefty price. Oh Jung-hee, Arirang News.
Coming back to South Korea, the ruling Saenuri Party and the government will discuss ways to revise the tax code at a meeting tomorrow. Chief Saenuri policymaker Kim Kwang-lim told reporters Wednesday his party will propose a comprehensive tax revision plan that's fair to all, reflecting the current economic circumstances. He added that the proposed revision will be handled carefully as it could have a negative effect on certain groups of people. The meeting on Thursday will be attended by ruling party lawmakers on the Budget Planning Committee, Finance Minister Yoo Il-ho, and related ministry personnel. The goal will be to submit something to the Budget Committee for review a week from Thursday in order to put it up for consideration at a cabinet meeting in late August. Korea's workforce appears to be graying as more older Koreans continue working later into life. Workers over the age of 60 outnumber workers in their 20s in the second quarter of this year. Kim Jong-soo looks into the rather concerning digits.
The Korean job market is increasingly reflecting the country's changing demographics and economic downturn. According to a Statistics Korea report released on Wednesday, the number of new hires over the age of 60 came to almost 4 million in the April to June period, outpacing those in their 20s, which stood at around 3.8 million. The first time this happened was back in the second quarter of 2014. Experts say one reason for the phenomenon is that members of the retired baby boomer generation are re-entering the job market in search of financial security, while people in their 20s are finding it hard to get decent jobs due to the slowing economy. But one expert points to another factor.
As for young job seekers, college graduates don't want low-paying jobs in the beginning because they think it'll make it harder to negotiate when they transfer to a higher-paying job. So this creates more delays in the job market inflow.
At the same time, Korea's leading companies are hesitant to recruit many new hires because of the sluggish economy, with 16 out of Korea's 30 leading corporations saying they are recruiting fewer people in their 20s than last year. It is also worth noting that elderly Koreans are mostly getting hired in temporary low-paying jobs, such as cleaning and delivery, in addition to social work. Experts have also noted the peculiarities of the country's shift to an aging society. The number of elderly Koreans aged 60 and over was 9.8 million as of the end of the second quarter, which is 470,000 more than the same period last year. That's a much faster pace of growth than the younger generation. The number of people in their 20s was just 6.4 million in the second quarter, or just 50,000 more than last year. To address the problem, experts say the government must create policies that lead to better jobs for Korea's elderly population, while also fostering the growth of mid-sized Korean companies, which are often overlooked by young job seekers. Kim Jung-soo, Arirang News.
Summer equates to fun and vacations to most, but that doesn't seem to be the case for high schoolers in Korea. Our Yoon Shin takes a look at a recent survey that suggested students would rather hit the books than the beach.
For most high school students in Korea, their summer vacation starts this week. But for a vast majority of these students, the concept of vacation seems to be lost, or at least irrelevant to their daily lives. A recent survey by TA's service group asked high school students what the ideal way to stay cool during summer is, and 77% of respondents chose study in a room with air conditioning, while less than 20% said that they would prefer to spend the season by hitting vacation spots, like the beach or going to see a summer thriller. The multiple-choice survey of 5,800 students was conducted from July 2nd to 15th and released Wednesday.
I think summer is the time I should use to catch up on my studies, especially in subjects that I'm not very good at, like math. Besides, most of my friends are busy studying, taking classes at cram schools every day, and I don't want to fall behind.
Also, in another survey conducted by the same group, 4 out of 10 students said that they study more than 8 hours a day, even during vacation. While the results of the survey go against the common image of fun and frolic related to summer vacation, experts say the students' answers aren't very surprising, considering the great deal of pressure they go through to prepare for the National College Entrance Exam. And the competitive environment of the current job market of the nation also tends to motivate the teenagers to hold on to their books, even during the times when they're supposed to be on a break. Yoon Shin, Arirang News.
We've come to the end of our newscast. As always, thank you for watching.